Hey, you guys come on in the room. Hey, we got Tony Clopton and MK Melissa King in the building. Man, we got an awesome guest coming up, man. I am super excited and stoked up about it. Hey, man, this guy has been blazing the trails. Hey, I don't have enough words to explain how excited I am about what's going on. So you guys get locked in, get your pen, your paper, go ahead and hit that share button, right? Exactly. We'll get started in just a second.
I like how you use that word stoked.
Yeah, how you like that? I don't want the cat out of the bag yet.
Right. That was a nice little play on words. I like that.
Hey.
Jenkins. Hello, Cedric Jenkins.
Super excited about today. And you guys get that pen and paper, share. I know we're going to provide some information that's going to help some people out there. So go ahead and share. Hit the share button. How you feeling, MK? You okay? You all right today?
I'm feeling pretty good. You know, I love it.
Oh yeah, I love it, man. Been off all week. I'm super excited about that. Been off all week long.
Yeah, just right in my face. Thank you. I appreciate that.
How I look today, I got my collar shirt on today for the special guest.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you pointed that out because I didn't know.
Y'all come on in the room. We got any guests out there? Hey,
I see some folks from YouTube. Hi, Chopper's Live Live.
Okay. Great. Chopper. Okay. That's great. We are on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, StreamYard, Snapchat, Smoke Signal, all that. We on all that.
Not the smoke signal.
Yeah.
There's Miss Cortina. How you doing, Cortina? Huntsville. Representing.
All right, MK, let's get started.
Okay, all right. So good evening, everybody. If you do not know me, my name is Melissa King. I have been with myEcon now for about 4 years. I am in the Huntsville, Madison area of Alabama. My background is in healthcare, but I'm turning into a financial genius. You know, it's in the works. You know. But I've been with myEcon now, and since joining myEcon, I've learned how to update my W-4, helped me bring home an extra $800 a month that allowed me to pay off a lot of bills. I've learned about investments. I've been able to teach other people what I've learned and get them started. I've improved my credit score, went from a 750, trying to get to 850. I'm about 16 points away, work in progress. But I've basically learned some things about money that I had no idea that I didn't know have any idea about. So, and I would say my biggest accomplishment since joining myEcon has been being able to hire my child. So she's around here somewhere, you know, good health is hard to find. But we're looking forward to launching her business along with your daughter coming up soon. Am I right?
Right. That's right. Absolutely.
So that's my little spiel about my time. I'll let you do yours, son.
Okay. Awesome testimony, Melissa. So for those of you who do not know me, I'm Tony Clopton. I'm actually myEcon EVP Platinum. I'm a regular auto worker. Been in the game for 22 years. I've actually been in this business for 5 years. I can tell you now that you're looking at somebody that's probably been over 700,000 in debt back in 2008. I know all the processes of bankruptcy, voluntary repossession, foreclosures, all of that stuff. That was me, right? After myEcon, I was able to utilize strategy one, which was to properly adjust my W-4 and bring in an extra $465 a month, which allowed me to pay off some debt. I'm currently don't have a whole lot of debt. Only thing I have is the mortgage right now. I've currently been able to create the emergency fund, and like so many others at my job, man, to have an emergency fund is crucial, y'all. So that's probably one of the biggest things that I was so proud of, that I was able to put some money away. So when my job fell back on hours, literally some people are being laid off right now, I was able to position myself to be able to make it on that unemployment benefits. So that was a huge wake up for me, that the business that I'm in right now put me in position to be able to make it without no stress. And I'm so proud to say that I have used the investment information that I've gained in this company, and I've been able to open up 3 investment accounts, and one of them I opened up for my daughter. She currently has a little over 30,000 and growing for my 12-year-old daughter. So the information we're sharing with you guys today has put me in the position I am in right now. And I'm so excited to be able to bring on the founder of this company, because he actually teaches this stuff. And before I bring him on, I want to just share this one little story. Him coming into Alabama, I was able to follow him from Huntsville down to Montgomery, and just learning and understanding how money works was the biggest value for me. I asked him at a meeting one day, and I don't want to continue on, but I asked him, at some point, you feel like you'd have made enough money. Why do you feel like you still have to work this business? Right. And man, this is what got me. He said that he asked God to show him something that would help a lot of people. And he said that that's why he continues to work this business, because God put something in his heart to share with us. And I want to pattern myself after that. And I think all of the myEcon associates are starting to see that we have something to offer people. People are struggling out there. And I think that the information that we have, we owe it to ourselves to pass it on, not to just our kids, but to anybody that's willing to receive the information. So I'm just super excited to bring on the co-founder of myEcon, Mr. Ivey Stokes.
Hello, how's everybody doing today?
Awesome. How you doing, sir?
I am doing wonderful. Just kicked back here in Atlanta, getting ready for my nightly calls, just having some fun and enjoying life. That's what I do every day.
That's great. That's great. Well, we are super excited to have you on. We know you got a lot going on, and we don't want to hold up too much of your time, but we have quite a few questions. But we want, if you would, could you just give a little bit about yourself and why you created this awesome company in your own words, sir, while we have you?
All right. Yes, sir. I will be definitely glad to do that. First of all, I just want to thank Melissa, and also want to thank you, Tony, for inviting me on your show today. It's always a pleasure for me to talk about myEcon, and it's always an honor for some of our leaders to invite me on their shows, and so I just really appreciate that. And a little bit about myself is I grew up in a small town in South Georgia, a little small farm community, and we grew up very poor. We didn't have any money, but I had a wonderful childhood. As a matter of fact, I didn't even know that we were poor until I got to college and found out other people had money. We had a lot of fun and enjoyed ourselves literally every day. And so that was a great life. And of course, when I got a football scholarship to Georgia Tech, played football there. And then, of course, by the time I'd gone through college and saw how other people were living and what they had and so forth, I started to get an understanding that we really didn't have, money and things of that nature. And so, I always say I left college the same way I got there, on Greyhound and broke. You know, that was a big slap in the face, you know, because you go to college to get ahead financially, but then you get out and, you know, and you start to realize that even after college, many people struggle financially. And so, you know, I decided my senior year in college to go into the financial services industry, which was, you know, insurance and mutual funds and things of that nature. So I did that for some years, made some money at it. And while doing that, I realized that literally, you know, even based on the insurance industry statistics, only 4 people out of every 100 that are born are financially successful by the time they're age 65. And I'm like, man, that's amazing, you know. And so I just realized that what the industry was doing that is not really getting the job done. And so you know, being in talking to so many people and being in so many homes over an 8 or 10 year period of time, I realized that there was a better way to help people attain personal financial success. And so, you know, after using the strategies that God had taught me to become wealthy, then I just realized that I wanted to take that information and I wanted to market that to people rather than the traditional information that I had been hearing every day and that the financial industry, because really, you know, in the financial industry, we were taught that you only talk to people that are making 6 figures. And I'm like, what about all the people who aren't making 6 figures, which is, you know, a huge percentage of the people. And so, you know, it was about me doing something that I felt good about, something that I believed in, because the people that I wanted to help, you know, I want to help everybody, but the people that I had the most passion to help, they didn't make 6 figures. And I wanted to do that. And so when I got the opportunity to do so, I started myEcon, and the rest is history. And that's what we do every day. I love it, you know, and I hope I'm just able to do it mentally, physically, and financially for many, 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 many years, you know. And I'm so proud of our associates and leaders in myEcon, because not only have we been teaching our associates how to do it, they actually have results, you know. And they say you can judge a tree by the fruit, right? And have tens of thousands of myEcon associates all over America that have done great financially. And to me, that's the big reward. You know, I see all of our successful associates out there.
Okay, great. So look, I'm going to go ahead and try to drop the myEcon concept on some people out there that don't understand what myEcon is all about. So first off, I want to say the first thing that really attracted me to this business when I heard Mr. Stokes say that God gave us the power to gain wealth. That stuck with me, and I was like, wow, okay, so this is what I've been doing wrong. I've been trying to do it all by myself, but he gave us the power to do it. And then Mr. Stokes showed me a strategy. So let me give you a breakdown of what myEcon, the personal financial success, means to me. And it's a lot of associates are saying, understanding this too. myEcon was created 15 years. We're technology-based, technology-driven, debt-free. And I think that's so significant now that so many companies out there are bankrupt. They're laying people off. But myEcon has exponential growth. And I think the reason why is because people are finally waking up to understand that a job alone is not enough. We talk about the company as being $500,000 of associates that have paid off debt. We're talking about cars and homes and student loan debt and all of that stuff. So I think that the combination of what we have, and if anybody can plug into this system, anybody can win the financial game. So in a nutshell, to me, that's what myEcon is about. We're offering a system. We're offering a membership that anybody can plug into and win financially. How's that?
Absolutely. That's the idea. It's about having, God gave us the power, and but we need a roadmap.
That's right. Absolutely.
And myEcon, you know, provides that system, and that's the system that God gave me. That's the system that I use to go from being poor to being a millionaire, and it's helped tens of thousands of other people. And I really believe, because I've seen people from all walks of life, from homeless to no money at all, come in myEcon and grow financially. And so it absolutely anything we do in life, we need a roadmap, no matter what it is. If you're going to make a cake, you need a recipe. If you're going to build a house, you need plans. So and the biggest problem, the biggest mistake that most people make financially is they do not have a financial plan and strategy. And myEcon provides the least expensive, best financial plan in the industry today.
Okay. Melissa, you want to go ahead and start? You want to pop off some questions for Mr. Stokes, or you just want to? How you want to do it?
Yeah. First, let me say I appreciate the fact that you looked out for us less than six-figure people.
Yeah.
Because before I met you, I could count on 0 hands how many millionaires I had met.
Right. Absolutely.
I do appreciate it. I think that is one of the things that sets us apart. And what you were saying about the roadmap is exactly right. Because before joining the business, I didn't have the best financial habits, and it was like the whole myEcon strategies sort of gave me some structure. And I know a lot of people will say that, what's the formula? What I liked about myEcon was everybody doesn't have to do the same strategy. So can you kind of go over how we're able to take the strategies and do them to our advantage? Because I know some people, I remember going to a webinar where it was saying some people might like to go ahead and pay off all their debt first. Some people might want to start investing and paying their debt at the same time. So how did you come up with the strategies, and how would you say would be the best way to choose what's going to work for you?
Okay. Well, that's actually a really good question, because anytime you try to put everybody in one box, that's not going to work. We got different personalities, different goals, different agendas. We're in different places in our life. And so in myEcon, our strategy is what we call an income shifting membership. It's a membership that helps you create more cash flow, because no matter what you do financially, the bottom line is you've got to get some extra cash, coming into your household that you don't use to spend, but you use that money or that extra cash flow to make more money. Okay. So let's just use somebody that's got an extra $300 a month. Okay. So they got $300 that they're not going to spend, but they're going to use that money for making more money. So now they can take that $300, and if they are really emotional and really concerned about their debt, they can take that extra $300 per month and they can start putting it on their debt. And because they're hitting that principal hard every month, that debt is going to be eliminated in record time. It's going to knock it out really quick. Okay. So that's one strategy. Well, some other people may be, a little younger, or maybe have a different agenda, and they got the same $300 extra per month, but they don't want to, but they're not concerned about debt. They want to be an investor. And so they take that extra $300 and they can start investing. And then that money, as they put it into an investment, can continue to grow. One great strategy for investing, which, is putting the money into a IRA or 401k or 403b or a Roth IRA, something that gives a person tax advantages when they put the money in. And so by doing that, now they're doing a combination of things. They're lowering their taxes, and simultaneously they're growing their investments. So, that's just two ways that you can get started. You can knock out debt, or you can take the money and start investing. But, so that gives people the leeway of what they want to do. Now, and then when you start talking about investing, some people want to do their retirement investments. Some people want to do cryptocurrency. Some people want to do, individual stocks. Some people, so everybody's got their choice of what they want to actually invest the money in, but they're using a principle. They're using fundamental strategies that work no matter who they are or where they are financially.
Okay. Great. Hey, I got a question, and I want you to back it up a little bit, Mr. Stokes. Now, a lot of people that I've personally brought in start this business and they always want to say, what are we selling? And then how many people I got to talk to actually make some money. So could you, like a regular auto worker like myself, people struggling out there, they say they don't have the money to get started. What do you have to say to people that say that I don't have the money, and how can I get some money?
Well, I would say two things to, if somebody told me they didn't have the money, I said, well, do you want to get started, first of all? And if they say yes, I said, well, okay, since you said you want to get started, or you feel that there's a need to get started, then what we can do is look at your finances and see if we can rearrange them or restructure them and to free up some money. And typically we can do that with 90% of the people that we talk to, simply by showing them how to change their W-4 or what's called their tax withholding. Because if they're working a job, they're having money come out of their paycheck for taxes. And according to the IRS, over 100 million people have too much money taken out. So we simply go in, change the W-4, push more money into their paycheck, and now they have the cash that they can actually get started with the business. But even more importantly, they have the cash that they can start using that extra cash to work on their finances by eliminating debt or becoming an investor. And to me, that's the ace that, to put it in those terms, or that's the number one advantage that myEcon has, is we can help you get some cash by rearranging what you're already doing. Because, if you think about it, it's kind of a loaded question, when somebody says, well, I don't have the money to get started. And then, and if I'm one-on-one, I'll say this. If I'm, in a group, I won't. But if I'm one-on-one with somebody, I say, now, you're living in the wealthiest country in the world. And so if you don't have $30 that you can, or $35 that you can spend on you, then we've got a real challenge here. And so I'm assuming if they don't have the money, that means they don't have any money in investments. They're not doing very well financially, so they got a lot of financial issues. So what I tell that person is, I said, okay, we can definitely help you. And the good part about it is our strategy is like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just straight down the line. So we just go straight to the W-4, change it. 90% of the time, we see them pick up an extra $200 to $500 a month. So now they got money.
That's genius. I literally had my or feel out robbed, and I'm telling you, I've been literally wanting to kick myself in the behind because I wish I would have understood it. And a lot of people are making this common mistake, right? Is people don't know, and for us to be able to help them see it for themselves. I mean, you would think reading would be enough, but people still don't believe it, right?
Absolutely. And Tony, you made a great point earlier. When you were talking, you said that we were talking, and one of the things that you understood coming to our meetings was you learned how money works. And one of the most powerful things that a person ever gets this, they will be able to attain financial success. See, to build wealth, we have to have, or financial success, we have to learn to get some cash and then use that cash to buy or build an asset that brings us more cash. And that's in direct conflict to what most people learned at home. I know it is for me, because most of us learned at home at a young age, if you want some money, you go to work. If you want more money, then you work longer, you work faster, you work harder.
Second job.
So you can make more money while you're working. And work is good and work is honorable, but that's only half the equation. Because at some point, we got to get some money, and we got to use that money to make us more money. And on Wall Street, that's what they call cash, asset, cash. It's just a formula. And so when a person starts to get that, then it's pretty easy to see why we start with the W-4, because that gives the person some cash that they can work with.
Wow, you know what? I'm glad you mentioned it, because one of the things that Tony and I were talking about, over the years, this was my first time doing a business like this. But a lot of people that we've met along the way have said, once they come in with myEcon, it's the refreshing part, or what sets us apart, is you actually teach people about money. A lot of the network marketers, are all about pushing the product, but they don't teach you about how money works, investing, why you're like, even with the W-4, as Tony was saying, I never knew why I was filling that thing out. All I knew was if I have them take extra money out of my check, I won't owe. And that's the extent of my knowledge. So coming in here was really good because, you know, a lot of companies, they don't go over that type of information. So what made you decide to add that piece?
Well, the thing that made me decide to add that piece was real simple, is that, you know, as I said, I work for the financial services industry, insurance, investments, and mutual funds. I actually sold stocks and bonds and mutual funds for, you know, several years. And literally I would meet with 2 to 3 clients a day for years. And 99% of the time we came to the same point. Yes, I like it. Yes, I want to do it, but I don't have any money. And so you search for a way to be able to help those people get money. And the only way that I found that was, you know, successful 90+% of the time was through changing the withholding taxes on their job. You know, but you could easily say, well, and you'll hear the networking industry say this, well, everybody's getting rich and everybody's making a lot of money, but we know that's not true. You know, because everybody's just not good at sales. I don't care what you're selling, everybody's not going to make money at it. And and so I wanted a method that wasn't based on their ability to sell, but a method that they could get some extra capital or cash flow, and then they could use that to start making money. See, that's the whole big transition that people really have to learn to be able to get where they want to get in this country financially, is they got to get some money and use it to make more money. I compare it to farming. You know, if you never plant corn, don't expect a corn crop.
Right.
You know,
absolutely.
So same way, if you never invest money, then never expect any wealth.
Oh, let me ask you this question, because I've been hit with this often when you start talking about the W-4. What do you say to those people that say, oh, I was doing it all along. I'll go in and change my W-4 for half of the year and switch it back to the second half of the year. And they feel like what they were doing is the same as what we are doing. So how do you respond to that question?
Well, it's the same answer. You know, it's like I tell people that all the time. I tell them, I said, well, let's think about it like this. I said, here's the thing. Are you where you want to be financially? You know, well, if they're not where they want to be financially, then it's not about how much money you get when you teach the W-4. Is what did you do with the money when you got it? Because if you never invest or never pay off debt, you'll never have wealth. So it's just that simple. So it's not about, you know, you got an extra $300 in your paycheck or extra $500 in your paycheck. It's about, did you take that money, because that was already your money.
Right.
Did you take that money and use it to generate more money? You know, which is either eliminating debt or investing, right? And they're not doing that. They're not even, you know, and there have been multiple companies and, you know, people who think they do the same thing myEcon do. But it's a difference between showing somebody how to get some money versus showing somebody how to get the money and having the mindset to use that money or part of that money to start generating income or paying off debt. So you're starting to build wealth. That's a totally different world. And that's the strength of myEcon. We have so many millionaires in myEcon today who have never been big time recruiters or big time sellers, but financially successful. And many of them are millionaires because they mastered cash asset. You know, they picked up an extra $300 20 years ago, and they used that money to invest over the last 20 years. Or they took that $300 and paid off their debt. And then when all the debt was gone, maybe now they had an extra $2,000 to work with. And then they started investing in 2000. And so it's the second part of that, which is the real gem, which is when you get that extra cash, do you have the mentality and the support to now use it to start generating cash flow? And I always tell people, I said, think about it like this. How much money would you make next year if you didn't work?
Mm-hmm.
You know, well, one day it's going to be next year.
Mm-hmm.
And one day, next year is going to come around and you're not going to work for whatever reason, age, health, retirement, disability, etc. And so that's what that's what we're solving, is showing people how to get the money and start building those assets. And that's the foundation of myEcon. You know,
Right.
lots of people can make money or get money by changing the W-4, but if you don't develop the discipline to do something with the money, it was of very little use.
Right.
Oh man, this is hot. This is some hot stuff, y'all. I hope y'all writing some of this stuff down. So look, I see myEcon as a double-sided coin, right? So whether you can just run the business, you can recruit, or you can just work the strategies. So like Mr. Stokes said, I've seen young people, I've seen old people, I've seen black, white, Puerto Rican. It doesn't matter what color you are, it don't matter what demographic, it doesn't matter if you got a degree or not. If you utilize these basic principles and strategies, you will get wealthy. And I've seen it for myself, and I already know it's going to happen for me sooner or later. And we all can have that same option. That same option.
Well, you know, Tony, what I tell people all the time is doing a myEcon presentation and recruiting people is really simple. Tell them what you did. To me, that's real simple. If I took my money, if I got an extra $300 or whatever, and I paid off my debt, I can tell that story a million times.
Mm-hmm.
The people out there want to get out. If I took that money and I started putting it into my retirement account or put it into an investment account and I got a return, I can tell that story. If I improve my credit, I can tell that story. So literally, building your business is tied to how well you implemented the strategies.
Absolutely.
I'm just telling the same story over and over.
That's right.
Even today, I use the same presentation that I've used for many years, you know, because today the first thing that I do is I don't have a W-4, but the first thing I do every month is I spend about a half a day every week minimizing my taxes because I want to pay as little taxes as possible. So I'll have as much of my cash as possible that I can invest.
And you know what? That's the part that I didn't know before, why it was so important to minimize taxes. And that's ended up being the biggest part that's helped me be successful.
Mm-hmm.
To have those deductions that I didn't know about, things that I was paying for anyway,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to apply them, it's just amazing. I never had any idea why that was an important thing. So I think a lot of people miss that. But what are some of the questions we've been getting is what are the habits or things that you do on a regular basis? I know you mentioned that you sit down once a week and see how to minimize taxes. What are some other tips? Because, you know, the biggest part of going from a W-2 employee to starting your own 1099 is the mindset. So what tips do you have to start getting people to start thinking more as a business owner versus someone who works for somebody that has a business?
Well, one of the exercises I like to do with people is I like to ask them the question. I said, "What are your goals?"
Mm-hmm.
You know, if somebody says, "Well, I want to be a millionaire," I said, "Okay, tell me how you're going to do it."
Right.
They're making $50,000 a year, $100,000 a year. Okay, what's your? And what I do is I keep going down that line until I can get them to see that it's not going to happen with their current strategy, or it can happen with their current strategy. You know, because most of the financial conversations you have are very general
Mm-hmm.
and have very little substance. It's just a wish list. And so I try to get people to say, okay, well, so if that's a goal that you've got, you really want to be a millionaire, or you want to have a good retirement, or you want this or that, the other, then, you know, would you agree that you're going to need more cash to do that? You're going to need more cash flow. If they say, yeah, I said, well, you know, there's a lot of ways to get more cash. You can work more hours, et cetera, et cetera. I said, but an easy way is to start a home-based business, because business is going to help you get cash multiple ways. Number one, it's going to help you lower your taxes. But number two, it's going to give you the opportunity to start generating more revenue. And so I just put it inside of their goals, because if somebody doesn't want something, then it's not going to be much value to them. But if they actually want it, then they should be open to looking at different ways to acquire it.
Right.
So that's one of the things that I use right there in just giving them is to helping them understand that it's not about just waking up one morning and saying, hey, I want to be a millionaire. I want my own restaurant. I want my own hotel. I want to travel the world. I want to do all these things, but they have no plan.
Right. Absolutely.
And sometimes that conversation takes more than one time. So I've learned over the years that when you prospect somebody today, I think in the social media world, they call that dripping on people,
Right.
Teach me some words. I didn't know the drip word.
It does take a person some time quite often to change their mindset.
Right. This is good. Mr. Stokes, I got a question. So a lot of people don't know the benefits of a home-based business. I'm telling you, I was one that my wife would book a trip quicker than anybody. And I'm trying to figure out where the money coming from. So could you explain to them about how you can literally write off your lifestyle and how that can transition into more money, like tax savings? Because a lot of people don't know the benefits of that, right?
Yes, it's a huge benefit, because what happens is we have two sets of tax laws in America, one for business owners and one for employees. And so literally, when you become a business owner, now you have a whole different set of potential tax deductions. An example, if an employee drives their car to work, 40 miles a day, for a year, and so they end up with, 10, 12,000 miles for the year, they can't write any of that off. They're an employee. But if a business owner did the exact same thing for their vehicle, they could write that mileage off at about 55 cents a mile. And so just by becoming a business owner and attempting to build a business to make a profit, whether you made a profit or not, now things that you spend money on that could potentially help you build that business become tax deductible 100% or at least in part. And so you start to take a look at that. Okay, you say, well, what could help me in my business that I could spend money on? Well, you could spend money on your cell phone. If you got a business, surely you're using your cell phone. Okay. You could spend money on internet access. If you got a business in today's time, surely you got internet access. Your personal vehicle. You might even have a note or payment on that personal vehicle. You got to have an office for your business, which could be your home. Okay. Whether it's an apartment or whether it's a house that you've paid for, a house that you're making notes on it. Okay. You're going to need some employees. And so when you start doing all of those things now and you start looking around, there are some things that you're going to spend money on, like your cell phone, your internet access, your car, your home, whether you're renting or whether you're buying, or even if it's paid for, you can write off the square footage, hire your own children to help you in business. So you've got several $1,000s of things that you're going to spend money on that whether you're in business or not. But now by the mere fact that you're in business, if you leverage those things or use them in part to help you grow your business, they become partially tax deductible. Let me give you a couple examples. We did this with our children, and now we do it with our grandchildren. Ms. Stokes and I both, we have 4 kids. They're all adults now. And so now we got grandkids. And so what happens is, kids needed school clothes many years ago, right? And now grandkids need clothes. So we hire them in our business. Okay. And then we pay them, and it goes into a savings account. Now it's a debit card, but it goes in there. And my wife, Ms. Stokes, she keeps that account. And then we pay them, but the money goes in there. She'll give them a little bit to spend. But whenever we take them shopping for school clothes, she's going to pay for it out of that account. Right. And so now we're writing off tax deductions on money that we were going to spend because we were going to buy them school clothes anyway. Now, we're not technically writing off school clothes. What we're doing is we're writing off the money that we paid them to help us in the business. So if we paid them $100 a month to help us in the business, well, that's $1,200 a year. Okay, so we got a $1,200 tax deduction that lowered our taxes. Okay, it was less than, and so the child, because the first $12,000 that anybody makes in this country is tax deductible, no matter whether you're a child or adult. So the child didn't owe any taxes on the $12,000. And then she simply took that money and used it to pay for the school clothes, which is no different than you would do on a job. Okay, when you go to your job and the company pay you money, they don't write off what you spend the money on. They write off the wages. It's tax deductible to the company. And then when you get that money, now you take it and go buy whatever you want, that you're going to use for your family or fun or whatever. And so it's the exact same process. The only thing is now you're the business owner, so you're getting the tax deduction. And so you're able to leverage or benefit from dollars that you were going to spend anyway. And so now you're basically, the end result is you're buying school clothes for your kids or grandkids with tax deductible dollars, even though the deduction was not based on school clothes, it was based on wages that you paid them to help in the business.
And you know what? That worked out so well for me. I couldn't have come across myEcon at a better time, because when I first talked to Tony about it, my daughter was getting ready to start regular school. It wasn't pre-K or anything anymore. So the school that she was starting was a private school. And of course, you can't write off private school for their taxes or whatever. But what I did learn is that I could hire her to be my employee. And the salary that I paid her, she used to pay for her school tuition. So it's like you said, I was like, this couldn't have come along at a better time.
Absolutely. And that is a strategy that has built trillions of dollars of wealth in this country, because how many times have you walked into a store and the person that owns the store has their child working in the store? Right. And on and on and on, right? And so that's called, and so what they're doing is they're literally taking those dollars that would have been the tax that the adults higher tax bracket, and now they're pushing them over to the child where it's the lower tax bracket, and the family gets an advantage for the process.
Strategy all day long.
And that's why I say it's so important for people.
This is good. Let me ask this question right here, Mr. Stokes, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
So a lot of people are a little bit fearful when you say business. Oh, I'm a little afraid about being a business owner. Now, I know we use other words like membership. Membership has perks, right? Could you tell them a little bit about some of the perks of the business or having a membership with myEcon to kind of help people see what else we have to offer other than just the educational part?
Yes. Well, number one, when you get in myEcon, you are a business owner, and then inside of that we have products and services. Well, our number one product is what we call our income shifting membership, and that's where we have 5 strategies and software and support system that people use to rearrange or restructure their taxes. Okay, that's where you have software and training in it. It shows you how to change your W-4. Okay, so that you're withholding tax and get more money put in your paycheck. So as Melissa said earlier, some people, say, well, I change it for 6 months and change it back. Well, that's not the proper way to do that. So we teach you exactly how to do that using the IRS website. We show you how to keep business records so you can maximize your business deductions. We show you how to get rid of debt. We have debt elimination software in there. We also have credit repair training. We teach you how to build a great credit score. And then, of course, investment training. So those are the 5 things that's in the income shifting membership. Now, we have other products and services. We have travel. We have nutrition. We have hand sanitizer since COVID-19 has been going on. We have roadside assistance. These are products that people buy every day. And so, now you're a business owner. So it's very similar to a person that buys a Subway or buys a McDonald's. You're buying the business module, but you don't have to create the products. You don't have to create the pay systems. You don't have to run it. We provide all of that for you at corporate. and all you're having to do is be the mouthpiece and introduce this to other people in the marketplace. And that's easy to do because you just tell them what you did, and it's simple.
Mhm. Man,
So it's really an easy way to build a business. Plus, what I tell people is this: if you're valuable to, it's a personal choice, but it's still a fact.
Mhm.
If you're valuable enough for a company to pay you to work for them, then there must be some value that you have that could help you build your own business. And then if you live in America, which is the wealthiest country in the world,
Mhm.
and your goal is to build wealth, that's going to be very difficult without a business because you're going to be taxed at the highest rate.
Mhm.
So you're going to lose up to a third of your income to taxes, by not being a business owner. So obviously a person can do it that way, but it's going to be very difficult. So sometimes, based on our goals and our dreams and the things that we want to accomplish in life, we may have to change our position on what we like or don't like. I tell people all the time, some people say, well, Ivy, you just love business. No, I don't. I'm just like anybody else. If I could go out and accomplish my goal by just sitting around, eating barbecue chips and drinking Diet Coke, already, I got no problem with that. But life doesn't work that way. And so when I realized that I wanted to be a millionaire at a very young age in my life, and when I realized that business ownership was going to be a major key to doing that, then I got in business the same day. I didn't hesitate because I realized, okay, this is what I got to do,
Right.
And so if it's a choice, then sometimes it's not what we like. I've heard people say, I've even talked to my kids about this, and they say, well, Daddy, this teacher told me that we should do our passion. And so I kind of kid along with them, and I say, well, your passion is spending money. If you're going to complete that passion, then you're going to have to find a way to make some. And if making some is going to be tied to a business, then we're right back where we started.
All right. The passion is spending the money.
Because if you got a great passion for shopping and spending money and traveling, but you have no money and you got to be on a job all day, and somebody on that job is going to pay you less than what you're worth, and even worse, they're going to pay you less than they pay somebody else for doing the same job.
Mhm.
Then logically speaking, you're going to have to do something about that.
Right.
Mhm.
My personality is I don't believe in a whole lot of talking. I believe in a whole lot of doing.
Right.
Mm.
So it was pretty easy for me to say, I'm going to build me a business. I couldn't even imagine me just sitting there waiting on somebody to promote me, and so I said, I'll promote myself.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And so that's just my personality. That's what I do because, to me, it just makes sense instead of just sitting around waiting on somebody else to do it.
Wow, that's good. That's good. Hey, I got one hot one, and I'm gonna turn it back over to Melissa. So I asked the other co-founder about this question. Do you think, and you saying you've been in church all your life, do you think that pastors should teach wealth inside of the churches? Because I hear so many people have mixed emotions about that. It's like how do you? Well, I guess if you're a part of the church as well, I guess you should be able to go to the pastor yourself. And I think people in church should know about what we do. Wouldn't you think so,
I
Mr.
can tell you this, I'm a Bible reader. I love the Bible, and I love God, and I love reading His Word. And money is mentioned more often in the Bible than prayer.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And in addition to that, God taught money because He
Mm-hmm.
says, "I give you power to gain wealth." And
Mm-hmm.
there's many other scriptures where He referenced the way that we can succeed financially. And so I would say absolutely that pastors should teach that or have someone in the church teach it, but even pastors, because here's why. it's kind of like raising kids. If you don't teach your kids about what's going on, somebody else will.
True.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that, if the churches don't teach, if they don't teach financial strategies and, and the ways that people should deal with their finances, then somebody else will. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think, so I absolutely think that should be taught.
Mm.
I don't think it's any doubt
Okay.
about it, because they're going to get the information from somewhere. And if they don't have a background in it, then they're not going to be able to evaluate whether that information is good or bad.
That's true.
Right, because if you look at it, if it's not being taught in school, and then your mom and dad don't know, then you kind of left out there on your own, like trial and error. So where do you get the information about actually building wealth, and who can you trust? For one, I guess it's another issue is have the
Right.
trust factor, especially in certain communities. People don't trust you. They feel like you're trying to get over on them, you're trying to beat me out of my money, but at the same time, they don't take a look at the information for themselves.
Well, I can tell you that the principles that I have learned, and the majority of the principles that I apply in my life financially came from the Bible. Because, you could talk about the principle of building wealth. You can talk about the principle of investing, because you put your, that's in the Bible. You can talk about the idea of not owing anybody and not creating debt, and the borrower is servant to the lender.
Mm-hmm.
That's a principle. Also, the principle of tithing. Surely if the government deserves, 20, 25, 30% of your money, then God who created it, surely he deserves 10%, right? So
That's right. Absolutely.
principle that's in the Bible. So, all the principles that a person need to build wealth are in the Bible. Now, I would say that, just like anything else, sometimes you need a modern day application of a principle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There was a time if you wanted to communicate with somebody long distance, then you wrote a letter, and then you made a phone call, and now you can text, or etc. And so, the principles are there, but I think sometimes people lack the modern day application.
It's outdated. Yeah, I got you. It's not reaching everybody. Yeah.
So the
Okay.
principle's not wrong. It's just the application is not up to date.
Okay. Awesome. MK, hey, I guess we need to address COVID-19 and how people are struggling out
You
there.
took the words right out of my mouth. I was just
Yeah, I knew that
ask.
was one. Yeah. Well, go if you want to go ahead and ask it in your way.
I tell you, it's not the first, and it's not going to be the last.
Right.
That's right.
I remember in 1982, when I was a senior in college, we had the oil embargo, and so that was a big mess. And interest rates was 25%, and et cetera, so no jobs. And then you came up in 1987, 88, the market crashed. So the market dropped 40% in one day. And interest rates, it was a mess for a lot of years. And you come on up to 2000, and you had 911. They hit the buildings up in New York, and that was a big mess for a while.
Yeah.
Then you went on to 2008, and you had the Great Recession, and the market dropped, and jobs went away, and the big recession came. And now here we are in 2020, and you got COVID-19. So here's my point, is that you're going to have disasters. You're going to have emergencies. What day, when, I don't know, but you're going to have them. This is not the first one, and this won't be the last one. So what we teach everybody to do is to change it. As soon as you get in our business, change your W-4 and start building your emergency fund. And I think that today should be at least $5,000 in a money market account or a savings account, because it's liquid. You need to get the money, you can get to it. It doesn't go up and down with the market. So you build your emergency fund. So that's step one. And then step two, you start investing for long-term retirement, or you start to pay off debt. And I would say that investing for long-term retirement is the period of paying off debt, because if something happens before you get it all done, you can always, declare bankruptcy on the debt or pay them when you get the money. But if you yourself one day not having money and not having an emergency fund, you're in a big mess. And so, we teach. So our system is going to work if there is a disaster or whatever kind it is, or if there's not one. And so we didn't have to change our system. And I was so proud, and I'm so proud of so many of my econ people, because I have just received countless emails and texts and heard so many different testimonials about my econ people who were saying, man, I am glad that I did. I'm glad I had emergency fund. I'm glad I cut my spending a long time ago. I'm glad I did this. I'm glad I did that. Because our system works, a short way to put it is, our system works whether it's good weather or bad weather.
Right.
It's all other system, you plan for emergencies because you're going to have them. It's not like this is going to be the last one. Now, we just don't know what the next one's going to be. And but it's going to be another one. And so if you plan now, then it's just not going to be good. And so it's a very simple system. And I tell people is that, it starts with the idea of, do you want to build wealth? I told a person the other day, I said, who do you love more, you or the people you buying all that stuff from? And they said, well, me. I said, well, you got to act like it.
That's right.
See, because I remember when I was poor and I didn't have much money, and so sometimes, building your emergency fund or building your investments is as simple as saying, you know what, I got to sacrifice a little bit until I can improve my finances. Because I made up my mind as a young person in my early 20s, 21 years old or so. I said, I'm not going to go to work 40 hours a week and take all my money and pay it to somebody else. I don't care what the consequences are.
Right.
It's not going to happen. I'm not going to work 40 hours, get my whole paycheck and give it to somebody else for goods and services, and then next week do the same thing and then say, well, I didn't have no choice. Because I did have a choice. So to me, that's just, it's just a matter of, people say, well, it's a matter of priorities. No, to me, it's a matter of who you love. If you love yourself, then some of your money ought to be spent on you. And the way you spend money on you and the way you invest in yourself is to build investments somewhere. And that starts with an emergency fund. I mean, you think about it, if somebody works for 40 years and they never have $5,000 in an emergency fund. But now they bought shoes and clothes and cars and Christmas presents and barbecues and all this stuff all these years, but I don't get that. I just think sometimes winning is saying I got to.
Right.
I play football, and sometimes you playing against somebody that's as good as you are.
That's right.
Somebody that's better physically than you are. But you can still win if you just say, you know what, I got to will it. I got to give it all I got because I have to win because I can't afford to lose.
Right.
And sometimes it's just a matter of digging in to that commitment level to be able to do that. And so, I think that's very important to be able to do that.
I agree.
Okay.
One of the things that I was especially proud of when everything started happening with the COVID-19 and people, I had a little bit of an advantage because I already worked from home anyway, but a lot of people weren't able to go into their jobs. They were having to do, like Tony was saying, unemployment benefits or whatever. And I remember when they first started talking about the stimulus checks, and I usually think stuff like that is a myth anyway. I'm like, they're not gonna give us no money. But then when I found out it was real, it still wasn't a big deal. But because I was already prepared with the emergency fund and everything, so it was like, if they give us a stimulus check, fine. If they don't, still fine. And I think about 4 years ago, I would have been up a creek without a paddle. you know?
Mhm.
So the knowledge and being able to have yourself be prepared, that's a big bonus too. Aside from getting rich, you learn good habits, you know. So I appreciate
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Hey, one last question. We getting close up on the hour, Mr. Stokes. In your personal opinion, and everybody wants to know this, what is the best investment right now for anybody?
Your own business. Because
Ding.
when you start your own business, okay,
Mm.
whether it's myEcon, some other business, okay, it's your own business. That's
Mhm.
it's going to give you the greatest amount of tax benefits, and it's going to give you the greatest amount of return in terms of rate of return on your money. You know, and when you look at most of the millionaires and billionaires in the world, they started their own business. Now, once you get that cash, that's the first cash. Use that cash to start investing in traditional investments like mutual funds, stocks, bonds, etc. But a person's own business is going to always be their best investment, even if a person said, well, I've got some extra cash right now and I want to start investing. Well, then what I would do is I would start a corporation and put that money that I was going to invest into the corporation and run all my future investments from the corporation, because the tax advantages of a business is far, 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 far greater than the tax advantages of traditional investments and also of a traditional job. So, number one, you need a business of some kind. Now,
Mhm.
hopefully, that'll be myEcon, but even if it's not, it'll still work the same way.
Yeah. Well, you know, one thing, another thing that I appreciate is, like I said, I've been in this business going on 4 years, and you have not changed from the story. You have not switched from the formula. Everything you said, you continue to say. So that's a good feeling too, because when Tony asked that question, I was like, you already know what he's gonna say.
Absolutely. I mean, because it's just mathematically correct.
Right.
You know,
Mhm.
I mean, if just think about it, if something, if you got $10,000 today and you go buy a stock, okay, whatever your rate, if it goes up 10%, then you made $1,000. But if you take your $10,000 and start a company, okay, you still got the $10,000 because all you did was start a company and put 10,000 in, right?
Right.
Mhm.
And now when you put the 10,000 in and you start doing your investing from your business, it's under a different tax structure than versus when the return. See, when you bought that stock in your name, if it made $1,000, it came back as tax one way. When you bought
Right.
that stock in a company name, when the return came back, it's taxed at a whole different set of tax laws.
Mm.
Mhm. Mm.
So a business is by far the best investment, period.
All right then.
And
There you go.
one thing that I want to say is this: just look, if you want to know where the government stands on this, look at the stimulus program. They gave people $1,200 and they loaned businesses hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars, no credit check,
Mm.
no assets, no collateral, just send them the money.
Mm.
So I rest my case.
Let me
Start
ask
your
you-
business, build your wealth, enjoy your life, and have fun. I want to thank both of you for inviting me on today. I had a lot of fun. Hopefully, you'll invite me back on another day, and I'll be glad to return.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Will do.
Will do.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you,
All
Mr.
right,
Stokes.
thank you guys. Thank you, now. Bye-bye.
And let me just say that every night Mr. Stokes comes on at 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern, and he goes over the business presentation. Tony and I pretty much share it from our channel every night. So jump on. Hear from the man
Give it up for
himself.
Mr. Stokes. We sure appreciate it, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir, my pleasure. I got to hop on another one. I got to 8
All
on
right.
All right.
Thank
All right.
you.
that. I had fun. Enjoyed it.
Thank you.